something recently saying, "Don't call me Lil Scrappy or
yes,
Erica's daughter.
don't.
Call me Emani."
Yes.
I felt that.
Yes, because it's like, you're just their daughter. It's like they don't really care. Or if we do something good, they'll still be like, oh, that's just Lil Scrappy's daughter. Like, they really don't care. Like, they don't care. They don't understand more so, but they really don't care. Like, I've had people come to me like, oh, that's Lil Scrappy daughter. You're Lil Scrappy daughter. I'm like, yes, my name is Emani. They be like, Lil Scrappy daughter. Like, still trying to be funny. No. I'm like, all right, now I'm still from Atlanta. I'm trying to be cool.
First of all, no, honestly.
When Emani finally sat down to speak her truth, it didn't sound like another reality TV moment. It felt like a young woman reclaiming her identity from a world that had spent years defining her by someone else's name. The cameras weren't rolling for VH1 this time. There were no producers to cut or reframe her words. It was her moment, her own voice, unfiltered. Sitting across from Reginae Carter, another daughter of fame, Imani's calm tone carried something raw, something earned through chaos. "Don't call me Lil Scrappy's daughter," she said, and for the first time, it wasn't defiance. It was liberation. She wasn't rejecting her father. She was rejecting the box that fame and public opinion had locked her into. Because behind that label was a childhood filmed, edited, and dissected before she even knew who she wanted to be. Growing up under the lights of love and hip-hop, Emani never had the luxury of mistakes being private. Every outfit, every mood swing, every eye roll turned into a headline or a meme. People saw a child and still expected her to carry her parents' legacy perfectly. They called her spoiled, entitled, and bratty, while she was just learning to breathe inside a storm she didn't create. She remembers the first time the cameras walked into her home, a sea of producers, cords, and microphones where her living room used to be. "My dad just told me to live normal," she laughed in the interview, but even as she smiled, her eyes told the truth. There's no such thing as normal when your family drama is sold as entertainment. But as Emani spoke, you could tell she wasn't bitter. She was evolved. The years of watching her parents, Erica Dixon and Lil Scrappy, take blows from fans, media, and castmates had built something solid in her. She's seen both of them get dragged through headlines and still show up, still co-parent, still try to protect her from the industry's poison. "People don't know the real them," she said softly. "They're good people. They're not full of mess." It wasn't rehearsed. It was the kind of truth only a daughter could say after seeing her parents' private tears behind public smiles. And yet, no matter how calm she tried to stay, there was one name that shifted her tone: Bambi. Emani never said it outright. She didn't need to. She called her that lady. It was her quiet form of resistance, her line in the sand. For months, fans had watched the tension unfold, the online shade, the cryptic posts, the whispers that something had gone down between Bambi and Scrappy's daughter. But what no one knew was how deep it cut. "Don't ask me about that lady," Emani had said during a live stream that went viral. It was the week of her prom, the one night meant to celebrate her youth, and instead, she was being bombarded with questions about her father's ex. The internet took her boundary as disrespect, twisting a simple statement into attitude. But behind the camera, it was heartbreak. "I wasn't trying to be funny," she explained, her voice cracking. "That was my way of being respectful. She was disrespecting my mom and my dad. And if you disrespect them, you disrespect me." That was the real Emani, loyal, blunt, and grown enough to say what others were too afraid to. While Bambi took her frustrations public, Emani was just trying to have a normal milestone moment. Hair done, nails set, dress picked, a night that was supposed to be hers. But it got hijacked by headlines and screenshots. "She knew it was my prom week," Emani said, shaking her head. "Why do that? Why make it messy?" The hurt wasn't just about gossip. It was about being reminded once again that her personal life wasn't her own. Every post, every diss song, every clip became another reminder that she would never get to be just Emani, and yet, amid the mess, Lil Scrappy didn't fight back with words. He didn't drop a track, didn't trade shade for shade. He hit the stage. He went on tour, made his money, and let silence do the talking. He handled it classy, Emani said proudly. She dropped a diss song with like 11 streams. "My dad was on the road selling out shows." The dig was subtle but sharp. It wasn't about numbers, it was about legacy. Scrappy chose checks over chaos. And that's what Emani inherited from him. The art of keeping composure in a world that feeds on breakdowns. Meanwhile, Erica Dixon stood as the quiet backbone in the middle of it all. Fans may have forgotten, but Erica had been through her share of public humiliation long before this new generation of drama. From reunion fights to social media wars, she'd learned to fight without screaming. Watching Emani speak, it was obvious she carried her mother's grace and her father's fire, a balance that only comes from surviving public scrutiny and still believing in family. "My mom taught me accountability," she said. "And to keep my faith in God." It wasn't just talk. Every word felt like a small rebellion against the stereotype. The internet painted of her family messy, dramatic, broken. But the truth was different. They were trying, still connected, still showing up for her even when the world said they shouldn't. Behind that strength, though, was a vulnerability that made the interview so magnetic. Emani admitted she still gets called Lil Scrappy's daughter everywhere she goes. Strangers say it like it's a compliment, but to her, it's a reminder of how hard it is to be seen as her own person. They know my name, she said. They just choose not to use it. Her frustration was layered. Part of her wanted to honor her father, the other part wanted to be free from his shadow. I'm proud of who he is, she clarified, but I'm also proud of who I'm becoming. For a generation raised on likes and live streams, that statement hit home. Both Emani and Reginae laughed through the pain, sharing stories of being judged by people who never met them, of being told they were brats simply because they were born into fame. It was bigger than celebrity gossip. It was about children of the culture trying to rewrite their own narrative. They still see us as kids, Emani said. They'll comment on my live saying they're gonna tell my mom. I pay my own phone bill. What is Toya and Wayne gonna do to me? The humor broke the tension, but underneath it, the message was clear. Fame doesn't buy you adulthood. You have to fight for it. As she spoke about her future, nursing, law school, independence, it felt like a full circle moment. For once, the conversation wasn't about who she was related to, but who she was becoming. I want it all, she said. I want to make my own money, my own name, and still keep my family together. And that's where the power of her words hit hardest, because unlike the drama that plays out online, Emani's truth wasn't for clout. It was for peace, but make no mistake, the storm isn't over. Bambi might have dropped her diss and moved on, but the internet doesn't forget. And when a young woman decides to stop letting her parents' battles define her, the people who thrive on that chaos lose control. That's why this story isn't just about a name, it's about identity, family, and the price of growing up in front of millions. Because when Emani said, "Don't call me Lil Scrappy's daughter," she wasn't rejecting love. She was reclaiming her life. And somewhere in Atlanta, both Erica and Scrappy must have smiled, knowing that for the first time, their daughter wasn't just defending them. She was defending herself. The days after that interview dropped felt different. For the first time, Emani wasn't trending because of her last name. She was trending because of her truth. The clip of her saying, "Don't call me Lil Scrappy's daughter," flooded TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter overnight. Some fans cheered, calling it her grown woman moment. Others twisted it, saying she was disrespecting her father. But the people who really knew the family saw something deeper. A child who had spent her whole life defending her parents, now finally defending herself. Because when you grow up under the glare of VH1 lights, your voice doesn't belong to you until you take it back, and that's exactly what Emani did. But not everyone handled her words with grace. As soon as the clip went viral, Bambi's name started bouncing around comment sections again. People pulled up old posts, old subliminals, even the snippet of her diss track, the same one Emani joked about having 11 streams. Suddenly, the internet was back in chaos mode, comparing Bambi's past comments to Emani's calm but powerful tone. That lady became a trending phrase, and fans filled her mentions with clown emojis and side eyes. Instead of letting it die down, Bambi reposted a vague story. A black background with white letters that read, "Some kids forget who fed them." The internet knew exactly who she was talking about. Within minutes, the blogs had screenshotted it, tagged it, and the Shade Room pages were spinning again. Meanwhile, Erica Dixon stayed silent, at least online. But people close to her said she was furious to see her daughter, who'd worked so hard to stay respectful, be mocked again by someone who once shared her household was crossing a line. Erica don't do messy, one insider told a blog. But when it comes to Emani, she's gone a step, and that's exactly what she did. Quietly but with precision. Instead of a rant, she posted a single quote, "When God fights for you, you don't have to clap back." Fans knew what it meant. It was class and control, the same combination she's been known for since her earliest love and hip-hop days. Still, those who've watched the show for years could tell, this time, it was personal. Lil Scrappy, on the other hand, handled the chaos in his own way, with movement, not words. While everyone else was arguing, he was booked and busy. His tour footage showed him smiling, performing, and taking pictures with fans who shouted, "We love you, Scrappy, you Scrappy," in every city. But behind that calm stage presence, people say he was quietly heartbroken that things had come this far. A source close to him said he hates that his baby girl even had to address this. He raised her to respect everybody, but also to protect her peace. And when a father sees his daughter's peace being tested for views, that's when silence becomes his strongest statement. Back home, Emani wasn't crying. She'd done that already during prom week when all this first started. This time, she was steady. She'd seen her words being twisted before and she knew the pattern: say anything honest, and they'll call it drama. So she did the smartest thing she could do: stayed offline. No posts, no clapbacks. Just living. She went back to Savannah State University, finished her semester, and proved that while the world was busy arguing, she was still chasing something real. Let them talk, she told a classmate in a video later reposted by fans. I know who I am, but the story wouldn't stop chasing her. Bambi's post reignited old wounds and old alliances. People started tagging Mama D, asking if she'd seen what that lady said about her granddaughter. And if you know Mama D, you know she doesn't do subtle. She jumped on live the next morning, crown on her head, sipping tea, saying, "See? When you mess with a royal child, you get royal consequences." The fans went wild. She didn't name names, she didn't need to. Everyone knew who the royal child was. Within an hour, #RoyalChild was trending right next to #ThatLadyDirt double quotes through it all. Erica Dixon stood her ground. In interviews, she finally opened up a little, explaining how proud she was of her daughter's composure. People have no idea how strong Emani is, she said. She's had to grow up in the spotlight, hearing people drag her daddy and her mama. But she's learned how to handle herself with grace. Those words hit harder than any diss track ever could. Because while Bambi was dropping subliminals, Erica was raising a testimony. And when it came to Scrappy, even his silence spoke volumes. At one show, right before performing one of his classic hits, he paused and looked out at the crowd. "You can't break what God built," he said. "And that's on family." The audience roared and fans immediately linked it back to the drama. He didn't name anyone, but he didn't have to. The loyalty was clear. The man who once thrived off chaos had grown into a father who chose peace over pettiness still. Behind the calm posts and tour photos, people close to Scrappy say he was hurting. Because this wasn't just about fame, it was about family. Seeing your child pulled into adult drama, seeing your ex-wife still dealing with old wounds, and watching your current situation implode publicly, it wears a man down. He's been through a lot, one insider said. But seeing Emani stand up for herself gave him hope. It reminded him that even through all the mistakes, he and Erica raised a strong one for Emani. That strength became her shield. When blogs tried to bait her into responding again, she smiled through it. When reporters reached out asking if she wanted to clarify her comments, she said, "There's nothing to clarify." Her silence became her power. The same silence her father had once used, now perfected by his daughter. Fans started calling her Lil Scrappy's piece, saying she inherited his toughness but turned it into grace. And somewhere, that had to make both her parents proud. As weeks passed, the noise faded. Bambi moved on to promoting her new ventures and the internet found a new scandal to feed on. But one thing didn't fade: the respect people gained for Emani Dixon. Because she did something rare in the world of reality TV, she told her story without tearing anyone down. She showed that you can love your parents, call out what's wrong, and still walk with integrity. That's not entitlement, that's evolution. When asked later if she regretted anything, she said, Imani's answer was simple. "No," she smiled. "Because I meant it. I just wanted people to know I'm more than somebody's daughter," and that's the message that hit home for thousands of young women watching. That being proud of your roots doesn't mean you have to live in someone else's shadow. In the end, the interview that started as another internet moment became something much bigger. A reflection of growth, family, and womanhood. Erica Dixon reminded people what quiet strength looks like. Lil Scrappy proved that peace can be louder than pettiness. Bambi showed how bitterness can backfire. And Emani? She became the voice of a generation that refuses to be labeled by someone else's story. Because when she said, "Don't call me Lil Scrappy's daughter," she wasn't rejecting her blood. She was protecting her identity. She was claiming her name, her voice, and her peace. And if the world didn't get it then, they do now. Emani Dixon isn't just somebody's daughter. She's somebody's legacy, rewritten in her own words. Rewritten in her own words.